how Endsars protest may shape outcome of 2023 poll. That's the headline. Is it possible that Endsars protest would have that kind of rippling effect on the 2023 election?
Of course. You know, I've always said that no two elections are the same. That there are very significant issues that may have taken place prior to the election that will determine or shape the outcome of the election. The 2020 Endsars protest, mind you, it came just barely a year after the 2019, general election. That protest was more like a red flag to the government in power. And we saw their demands, apart from the fact that youths around the country were demanding for the disbandment of the notorious SACS, arm of the Nigerian police force because of its notoriety in some, criminal, activities. That protest also snowballed into demanding for good governance, demanding for there were about 5 points, agenda. And then we saw how government responded to it. It's not the first time the government of the day will be clamping down on protesters. Right from 2015, we have seen the seeming negative posture this government always have when it has to do with protests. They are always jittery. They are always on the offensive whenever anybody talks about protests. Okay, look at the NFC protest that was to take place at the beginning of the month. Imagine that government was even made an attempt to go to court to stop NLC from having its protest. Protest is a constitutional thing. It's not the right of anybody to give.
But at the end of the day, the protest held.
Yeah, no. If NLC didn't have a robust leadership, if NLC didn't partner civil rights organizations, I'm sure the leadership would have chickened out. So that is what has happened. And now the Endsars protest has taken place. It's been 2 years or so. We haven't really seen much of government actually apologizing to Nigerian youths. That okay, we apologize for the way whether it was the military or it was hoodlums that that truncated that civil protest. We haven't seen government done that. We haven't also seen government take action. Yes, Endsars, the SACS may have been disbanded, but in some form of these guys, they are still operating. Even though they have been disbanded, it's no longer called Endsars. It's called another name. It's the same men, the same people who were committing those offenses are the same people that are also, populating the new form of police.
You said there was no apology whatsoever by the federal government. Is that a statement of fact? Because I can remember that Mr. President gave a national broadcast when that issue happened, and then he addressed the issues and promised Nigerians that those things were going to be addressed. And you have confirmed that 5 demands were met.
Okay.
5 demands were raised. Were those 5 demands not addressed by the federal government?
When a husband quarrels with the wife, and the husband is at fault, and the husband is supposed to apologize to the wife, and then instead of apologizing to the wife, the husband comes back at home and starts telling the wife that, look, I bought a piece of land at Lekki Ekpe. I bought a new car here. Does that amount to apology? You are only postponing the evil. You haven't apologized.
A restitutional panel was set up across the country.
And what has become of the restitutional panel? It's less than 8 months to the general election. It was an issue that demanded immediate response. So what has government done?
Okay, now let's stay on what the paper has captured. Okay. How is it going to affect the 2023 election?
Good. The youths took to the streets, demanding certain things to be done. Now, gone are the days when people, I have said it here severally, gone are the days when voters go for political parties. It's now going to be voters looking for persons that have the credibility, persons having the capacity and the competence to solve their problems. Now, in the last 7 years, we have seen APC rule this country. We have seen youths, go on rampage demanding for good governance. Now, the question we should be asking ourselves, or we should be answering this morning is, do we have good governance? Do we have security? Unemployment, has it been reduced? Poverty, has it been reduced? What are those critical issues that affect youths that make them, take to the street? Has government actually addressed those issues? Look, these are very critical issues that will determine the outcome of 2023. Now, if somebody comes and begin to make promises on these very germane issues that Nigerian youths took to the streets for 2 weeks, I tell you, there's going to be a swing. Not because it is a PDP, not because it is an APC, not because it's a Labour Party or any other political party for that matter, but because somebody who has credibility, somebody who believes in the youth, somebody who may have done it before and the youth have seen, and is now making these promises, you see that the youth will swing to the favor of that person.
Well, now, I wonder who that person would be, because the last time I checked, Nigerians have a way of complaining about every leader, no matter how seemingly good you think you would be. During your time as a president or a governor, there is going to be, some level of noise in a section of the country. So I don't know if you're going to have that kind of leadership in this country or anywhere in the world that everybody would be applauding.
No, it's not altogether possible that 100% of the voters will go for a particular candidate, but at least a significant number of that voter population that will determine the winning will go for such a candidate. It's not possible that 100% will vote. Like in the election that is coming up in 2023, look, somebody is going to win, but others will trail, behind. So in this case, those issues that made up the Endsars protest, they are still with us.